This is the 6th map already in the Showmatch series, brought to you by sc2vision between DuckloadRA and mtwDimaga. Dimaga, of course, the blue Zerg, and WhiteRA, the red Protoss. I always mix DuckloadRA and WhiteRA because WhiteRA is the name you probably know him, and DuckloadRA is, of course, his account name. We are on Shakura's, of course, Zelnaga Caverns. And yeah, 3 points for Dimaga already, 2 points for WhiteRA, so still Dimaga has the match point, and still WhiteRA needs to complete his 4 wins in a row series to get the 100 bucks that are on the edge. Fallen finished. We saw some Link Baneling action by Dimaga, and when he switched his strategy to roaches, he immediately lost to Blinkstalkers, so this was a clear strategy loss last game. I wonder what Dimaga wants to do on this map. We have a very exposed expansion, so it's not that easy to take the first base early on. I think Blinkstalkers are pretty decent here, because you can get your Blinkstalkers out of one base in a high number, and it's not that easy, as I mentioned, to get your or guard your natural expansion as Zerg player. And as Zerg player, you really need this natural expansion to get additional geysers, aka extractors, and additional gas. So let's see what DuckloadRA is doing on this map. Scouts the expansion, but there is a spawning pool at 14, an extractor at 13 afterwards, and he's droning up again, while WhiteRA is throwing down in cybernetics core. So 1 gate cybernetics, so absolutely standard right now. After the Zealot nerf, I think it's pretty common to get a fast cybernetics core in Protoss vs Zerg again. We see metabolic boost now. So Dimaga is playing Zergling style again. There is a pylon to prevent the expansion, but Dimaga didn't plan to expand, I think, so fast. There's an evolution chamber, so this will be quick 1-0 Zerglings again. And 1-0 Zerglings are decent against Blinkstalkers. Well, of course, against Stalkers they're devastating. Against Blinkstalkers they're decent. Everything comes down to micro positioning. You want to cluster your Stalkers. This is the maybe only happening where you want to cluster your units to have a small surface against all these Zerglings. Yeah, the Queen did the first injection. We see 24 supply for Dimaga, who needs to get an Overlord. Oh, a little bit supply stuck there. Throwing down his hatchery. And additional gateway by DuckloadRA, who probably wants to do a 4-gate push. I'm not entirely sure. Or maybe a 2-gate stalker harassment. The probe is chased, but a little bit faster. No, it is not. Metabolic boost finished. Ah, okay. Of course, the probe is a little bit slower than the Zerglings, but it's nearly enough to not being hit normally. Okay, hatchery will be finished pretty soon. Baneling nest is going down for mtwDimaga. Interesting. So he's playing his old style Ling Baneling against 1-based Protoss. Interesting. 22 against 26 harvesters. So in my opinion, this Ling Baneling style is very, very strong against an expanding Protoss. But when you play 1 base against a Zerg, I'm not entirely sure if these Banelings can do their job. These first Banelings smartly morphed right behind these bushes. There is a pylon at the bottom of the choke of WhiteRA, and he wants to expand. Now there's the Nexus. Now suddenly the strategy by Dimaga is very, very strong. 28 probes against 22 harvesters by Dimaga, and he's killing off this Nexus, and he's not cancelling it. with these banelings. Oh. 400 minerals. Bad thing. But of course, when you cancel your Nexus, you only get 300 minerals refund. So it's not a big thing, you know. But still the Nexus is a little bit delayed. So probably you want to switch your strategy. No, he's rebuilding his Nexus. But 6 banelings for this reason, I'm not sure if this is a clear win. There's some Zerglings, and these sentries can prevent, yeah, any pressure. 23 against 30 harvesters, so WhiteRA is on 1 base and a high harvester count, but very well saturated. When you have 24 harvesters at your mineral fields in the main base, they are highly saturated. A 31st harvester wouldn't do any other job or any more income. There's another forge. There's a forge going down to build 1 cannon. Maybe here, maybe a 2nd cannon there, and then this expansion is absolutely safe. And maybe Dimaga wants to drone up, but no, he wants to stay aggressive and attack with his banelings. Now we need some good force fields by WhiteRA, and oh, awesome! Look at this force fields there. In the last seconds, to get as many shots as possible. And he lost so much shield energy on all his units. But only shield energy. So it can regenerate, and WhiteRA is at 65 supply while Dimaga is at 59. Let's have a look at the drone count again. 23 against 34. Some banelings tried to run by, kill off 1 probe, but I think this is not worth it. Still on tier 1, Dimaga needs to have an in-base hatchery to get more larvae. No, he's getting a lair upgrade right now. So he will tech up to get some higher tech units. Maybe he needs Hydralisks to kill off all these sentry stalkers. DuckloadRA is still at 3 gateways. Here is a robotics facility going down. Okay. So maybe he wants to get Colossi against all these Zerglings and the follow-up tech, which would be Hydralisks I just mentioned. More banelings will be morphed, and the hatchery is halfway done to be a lair. Still only 31 harvesters, so Dimaga still is doing pressure and pressure and pressure. But yeah, on the long term, he can't win this match this way. He needs to do more and more damage. And I wonder why WhiteRA is not guarding his backdoor there. Normally you throw down 2 pylons and you're absolutely safe. But still WhiteRA is not opting to do this. There's a 3rd assimilator going down right now. And some pylons are spread to see overlord drops or whatsoever very early on. But of course these pylons are very vulnerable against mutalisks. We see no extractors at the expansion of mtwDimaga, which is a weird thing in my opinion. But of course, Dimaga only always have a game plan. But he seems a little bit lost, in my opinion, on this map. Because his pressure wasn't successful. And it looks like he feels he can't transist into anything else. There's a 2-0 upgrade right now. The observer is scouting what's going on there, and we see centrifugal hooks. So this is the baneling speed. But still, force fields are force fields. Can't be broken by banelings or zerglings. So some smartly placed force fields can prevent any aggression of Dimaga. And when he loses again a big fight like he lost it like 2 or 3 minutes ago, that probably is a free win for WhiteRA. Funky gets an immortal against Zerglings. Of course, he is not entirely sure what's going on in the head and in the base of Dimaga. Here's an observer scouting what's going on, so he probably wants to skip any more immortal production. So now he sees, okay, there's so many Zerglings, no tech structure so far. He's got it every spot. Okay, let's get in robotics bay to deal with all these Zerglings. So we look at the production tab. We see 2-0 upgrades. More banelings gonna be morphed. There's a blink upgrade going on. 2-0 upgrade to 1-hit Zerglings with Colossi, very strong stuff. Look at the nice creep spread, by the way, by mtwDimaga. He's very aware of the happening. Yeah, that on Xel'Naga caverns you have different ways to move through the middle of the map. This is the first way, second, third, fourth, and when you have a nice creep spread, you can surround your opponent very nicely. And yeah, this is the reason why he is spreading his creep so actively. Another creep tumor at the back door to spread some creep around there would be pretty nice, because this is a nice place to get warp-in pylons, especially here, so you can harass another expansion there, or just walk through these bushes and harass the expansion, the natural expansion. Still, both players are in the macro mode, so you can see their shield upgrades. I love that. There are thermal lances. There is a Colossi in development, and it is chrono boosted. Awesome! There is the chrono boosted Colossus on the field, and these Zerglings will have a hard time fight against these only Colossus. There is a Spire, finally, very late. Let's have a look at the drone count again. 50 drones now against 57 harvesters for DuckloadRA. And here is a run by with tons of Zerglings, but here's a gateway now. Still there's a small gap, a little bit sloppy by WhiteRA. I think he wasn't aware of that. Yeah, I think this could be a lot of trouble there. Of course, one force field could be a nice trap, but I don't think that WhiteRA is aware of that. He's moving out to kill the creep tumors. And maybe the destructible rocks. Dimaga wants to run by. Uh-oh, the cannon is going down. And nice blink, but it's not far enough. He wanted to close this gap there and trap these Zerglings on the spot. Again, the production tab says there are Corruptors, there are Zerglings, there's the Carapace upgrade. So, Dimaga wants to counter these Colossi with Corruptors, but he needs tons of Corruptors to prevent these Colossi to eat up all these Zerglings. Again, another run by, but still, no, here's a pylon. But, oh, nice surround. This could be a huge problem for WhiteRA. He will lose, he probably will lose all these probes there. But again, these Stalkers moved back, and Dimaga pulls back his Zerglings. Not losing that many. There's some black dots, but yeah, it's not a big thing. And now maybe the big fight will happen, and look at these Colossi burning through all these Zerglings. These Zerglings die in seconds, and look at this kill count. The Corruptors can kill off the Colossi fast enough. Some Banelings streaming into the main army of DuckloadRA. He's clustering up to smaller the surface, but all these Zerglings die in milliseconds, and only some Corruptors are left to kill off this last Colossus. But the Colossi did their damage. Dimaga is down to 71 supply, while WhiteRA is still at 125. He probably wants to take the golds now. Yeah, as you can see, he's throwing down one pylon, and he wants to get the macro advantage against his opponent. Dimaga expanded in the meantime at this third base position there, but it was very, very late. Dimaga is a little bit behind the whole game in the macro, and now he's paying the bill. Losing the queen, some Zerglings, but they will be eaten alive by the Stalkers. Nicely blinked to the backside, so the damaged Stalkers were rescued by the nice blink. Dimaga calls GG, and it's tied for 3 points in the Showmatch series. This is the best of 7, so the next map will be the decisive match